Hello, my name's Caliber. As of yesterday, the Xbox and PC beta for Modern Warfare 2 dropped, so I've been playing it since, and so far, I can confidently say that it is good. I think it's probably better than Modern Warfare 2019, and I've said this in a previous video, but Modern Warfare 2019, in my opinion at least, was a really good Call of Duty, and in general, just a pretty good game, so it's great to see that a sequel is actually better than the game that came before it. Modern Warfare 2 is kind of similar to Modern Warfare 2019 in its gunplay, in its movement, and just overall feel. That's come to expect it though, since it is a sequel, and pretty much all Call of Duties kind of feel the same. It does feel a bit slower though, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not so slow that the movement feels clunky, but it's just slow enough to where people aren't pulling off bullshit Apex Legends movement. And they got rid of slide canceling, which everyone is either super happy about or super mad about. I'm pretty happy that they got rid of it. It gets rid of some of the sweatiness that the last Modern Warfare title had. Call of Duty at its core isn't competitive. Of course, it has a pretty big esports scene, and competitive game modes like SND or Gunfight are really popular. But Call of Duty was really made for game modes like Infection or Gun Game, just game modes that don't take much thinking and you can just sit down and have fun with. So removing slide canceling really helps with that. Something to come from the slower gameplay is I feel the game doesn't feel as good with mouse and keyboard as Modern Warfare 2019 did. On a mouse and keyboard, the movement feels kind of clunky, and that's why in the gameplay in the background, you'll actually see me using a controller instead. Talking about movement, the movement in this game feels great. It doesn't feel clunky, on a controller at least, and it feels a lot more refined and less exploitable than Modern Warfare 2019. Something they brought back was dolphin diving, and to dolphin dive, you activate prone while sprinting instead of activating crouch while sprinting like you would with sliding. I almost feel like dolphin diving and sliding in Modern Warfare 2 could almost use a buff, because it's usually more efficient just to jump shot around a corner instead of sliding or dolphin diving because of how long the sprint to fire delays are. Talking about weapons, surprisingly, there aren't any guns in this game that I can say from experience are overpowered. There are some guns that are pretty bad and some guns that are a lot stronger. One gun I can think of that I would recommend staying away from is the F-TAC Recon. It has bad recoil, mid damage, and overall it's just not that good of a weapon. A few guns that are pretty good though are the FSS Hurricane, the TAC 56, and pretty much any gun from the Lackman platform. Gunsmith is something else that this game did pretty well. It's similar to previous gunsmiths, like from Cold War or Modern Warfare, but now you unlock stuff through a skill tree almost. For an example, if you want to unlock the MP5, you would have to first unlock the Lackman 7.62, then from there unlock the Lackman 5.56, and then you can unlock the MP5 after getting the Lackman 5.56 to a specific level. Which this is a really cool way to do a progression system. We haven't seen anything really like this from a COD game before, but I could also see how this could be somewhat of a bad thing. Say there's like a gun that's super bad, you hate it, and you actively try to avoid it, but there's a gun on the same weapon platform as it that you want to unlock and that you want to use. So now you have to use that gun you hate in order to unlock the gun you want to use. Which, coming from experience with grinding for gold camos, using a gun that you don't want to use is really painful, and I feel like that should be reserved for mastery camos. But I still am very excited to see how this system will work in the full game when we have access to a lot more weapons. Speaking of weapon customization and gunsmith, that one mechanic that was shown off in couple trailers, some gameplay before the beta dropped, where you would be able to move your primary weapon out of the way and quickly pull out your secondary while your primary weapon is still in your left hand. That mechanic, I thought it would just be something you'd be able to do with any pistol. From what I can tell, that's actually an attachment. I'm going to assume that's going to be like some kind of quick draw grip or something. Because the only gun you're able to do that with is a pistol from one of the default pre-made classes. Like ledge hanging, back when this mechanic was first revealed, I didn't really know what to think of it. It did look really cool, but I just didn't know how well it would work within Call of Duty's gameplay. And I think it works really well, even better than it would in a previous Call of Duty, now that reload canceling is removed. Usually in Call of Duty, if you reload, you'd be able to cancel the animation halfway through by either sprinting, swapping your guns out really fast, or just doing anything that overwrites the animation. Now reload animations are done in stages. So there's the stage where you take the magazine out, there's a stage when you put a new magazine in, and then there's a stage where you pull the charging handle back. This, I think, is somewhat of a nerf to weapons like submachine guns or assault rifles, but I think it's good for weapons like light machine guns, where it takes a really long time to reload, so you can pause a reload and finish it later. And the mechanic I was talking about earlier, where you'd be able to move your primary to the left and pull out your secondary really quickly, it helps with this because now you can pause a reload and pull out your secondary in even faster time than it would take for you to just swap to your secondary or just finish the reload animation. And even though the removal of reload canceling isn't liked by a lot of people, I think it really helps to bring more use to pistols, because before this game I've always used my secondary slot for either a rocket launcher or just some kind of melee weapon that I can hold to make me run faster, and I'm sure pretty much everyone else did that as well. Another core part of Call of Duty that was changed was perks. Perks work differently now. Instead of spawning with the 3 perks attached to your class right off the bat, you now have 4 perks in your class, and you earn them as the match progresses. You'll start off with 2 perks that you spawn with. 4 minutes later, you'll earn another perk, and another 4 minutes later after that, you'll earn your last perk. Getting kills or getting score does decrease the time. Usually you'll be able to get your first perk within like 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute instead of the usual 4, and your 8-minute perk within the first 4 minutes or maybe even 2 minutes. I can see how this can be very controversial. I can totally see how someone could be against this, but I actually like this system. I think it's a good way to balance perks like High Alert and the new Ghost without adding a downside to them. Going back to the topic of class customization, there is a whole bunch of new equipment and field upgrades. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't tried all of them. The ones I have tried seem pretty balanced, and I haven't really been seeing the ones that I haven't tried getting too many kills or making too many red dots on the minimap, so I think those are pretty balanced as well. One piece of equipment that I would like to talk about is the drill charge. When I first saw this thing in the multiplayer reveal trailer back when Call of Duty Next was happening, I was kind of worried how this would work. It was a really cool idea, but I just didn't know how well it would work with Call of Duty's gameplay. And from my experience using the drill charge, I think it's pretty balanced. It gives the person on the other side of the wall who's going to be receiving the grenade a good 3 or 4 seconds to get out of the way, go find some cover before the grenade goes off. And at the same time, while being quite generous to the person that you're trying to kill with it, it's not underpowered at all. I can still see myself unironically using it in a genuine loadout. And one field upgrade that I would like to talk about is Dead Silence. Dead Silence is a field upgrade again. I know a lot of people didn't like it being a field upgrade back in Modern Warfare 2019, but I thought it was cool how they're kind of experimenting with making perks into field upgrades. And I guess to some degree it worked back then, but with how loud the footsteps are in Modern Warfare 2, it doesn't make that much sense for it to be a field upgrade. They should have just made it a perk that just makes your footsteps quieter. That would have been fine. And there's another field upgrade called Battle Rage. And if they wanted a field upgrade to make you run faster, just add faster movement speed to Battle Rage. Maybe nerf another aspect of it, but make it give you a small speed boost. Turning it basically into Modern Warfare 2019 Dead Silence, but not really silent, and you get a health boost as well. But other than that, that's pretty much my only complaint with the equipment and field upgrades in this game. Something else kind of bad though that they brought back from Modern Warfare 2019 is the minimap. You aren't punished for firing your gun by being exposed on either the compass or minimap with a red dot. I can't think of anyone who really thinks this is a good idea. Infinity Ward said themselves that they made this decision because they feel like players shouldn't be punished for shooting. And I guess that kind of makes sense, but there was nothing wrong with the old system and it prevented more camping. I personally don't really care that much. I think there's enough field upgrades, equipment, and kill streaks in the game to kind of deal with camping yourself. And I don't really look at the minimap too often anyways, but I think that just might be my problem. Now, moving on, I want to talk about maps. It seems like everyone has their own opinion on what the best and worst maps in the MW2 beta are. For me, Farm 18, Greenberg Hotel, and that one museum map are probably the best. Mercado Las Almas is probably the worst. It's still a good map, but I didn't like it as much as the other ones. Something that I kind of noticed is that Marina Grand Prix wasn't there, which if you don't know, Marina Grand Prix was a map that was revealed long before any gameplay for Modern Warfare 2 was shown off, or at least multiplayer gameplay. And I actually ended up making a video on it. Turns out this map has just been canceled. It has something to do with a copyright issue because the map is too similar to an actual F1 course, and the cars shown off in the map are too similar to actual F1 cars, and F1 just didn't really like the idea of a map being based around F1 being in a game where you shoot each other. Hopefully something's resolved and the map can be put back into Modern Warfare 2. Either that, or hopefully they can just reskin it as something else, like an amusement park or something, and still keep the exact same map layout. So that's kind of disappointing, especially with this map, because it looked really good, and I was pretty excited for it. The last thing I want to talk about in this video are the game modes. All the new game modes are great. Invasion is basically ground war, except there's bots involved. So alongside players on either team, there's also going to be AI that spawn. If you've ever played Titanfall, it's similar to that, with how killing AI grants points, but not as many points as killing an actual player. Having AI and actual players on the same team sounds like a weird, almost bad idea, but in practice, Invasion is actually fun. I think I enjoyed it a lot more than Ground War. Talking about the new 6v6 game modes, they're all fun. Takedown and Hostage are great. Takedown I really like. The premise of Takedown is that it's 6v6. If you die, you don't respawn until the next round, but you can be revived. And in the middle of the map, there's a bag that spawns. If you pick up the bag and hold it for long enough, then your team gains points. I don't know if it's good enough to replace Gunfight. Gunfight was just an all-time favorite for me when it comes to COD game modes. But Takedown is definitely fun. Hostage is basically just Takedown, except instead of a bag, it's a hostage. And each team, or both teams, have different goals. One is to defend the hostages, and the other team is to take the hostages back to an exfil point. Other than that, all of the game modes in the beta are all returning game modes like Search and Destroy, Team Deathmatch, Domination, whatever. So I think that's going to be everything for the video. There were a couple glitches that I found in some of the pre-game lobbies. I could see myself A-posing in the background behind some other operators. In some of the intro cutscenes to the matches, I was also able to see parts of the van clipping through the floor of the van, so you could see the axles, wheels, whatever, while you're inside it. As well as that, and my game crashed quite a bit, and I know that's not just a me problem, because a lot of other people complained about Modern Warfare 2 crashing, especially on PC. It didn't crash for me as much as other people, but it still did crash, and it still did crash at inconvenient times when I was like halfway through a match or whatever. But that should be it for this video. I haven't uploaded in probably a week because I've been pretty sick for the past week, and my voice on a microphone would have just sounded pretty bad. I am still a tiny bit sick right now. On top of that, I didn't have enough energy to really do anything, not even like get gameplay for any videos or anything. and that was also from being sick. But I'll try to upload more often for now on. So that should be everything. I've kind of exhausted my thoughts. I don't really have much else to say. Twitch link in the description. Subscribing's free. And bye.